everyone, welcome to the Belt and Road face-to-face.
Compared to the regional countries, Pakistan power rates are more expensive.
To increase the burden on the foreign exchange reserves.
Like 3.8 square kilometers of area, it will be a concrete RCC structure.
The irrigation with cheaper cost is possible, and beside that, I think it will also help resist the flood and drought.
There will be a lot of business activity around this project.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Belt and Road face-to-face. Our program is co-produced by China Economic Net and vshnews Television. I'm Wang Xiaotong from China Economic Net. Today, I'm pleased to be joined in our studio by Zhou Yuan, Director of Urdu Major at Beijing Foreign Studies University, and Ayman Ullah Han, Managing Director at Global Care. Let's enter the first part, hotspot. Recently, agreements were signed for the construction of Azad-Pattan Hydropower Project as part of the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, with an investment of over $1.35 billion and 700.7 megawatts of electricity. The Azad-Pattan Project will involve no-fuel import, enabling the country to move towards cheaper and greener power generation. The project is expected to create 3,000 jobs. It is expected to provide around 3,266 gigawatts of electricity per year to the national grid by 2027. Mr. Han, what are the differences between the Azad-Pattan Hydropower Station and other traditional hydropower plants?
Traditional hydropower plants are built on large dams, reservoirs. Azad-Pattan is a run-of-the-river project, which means it will generate electricity from running water. So this is the major difference, and I think this is less expensive as compared to the traditional hydropower projects, and it can be built with a short span of time. And it will produce cheap and green electricity, environmentally friendly. So this project is very vital for Pakistan because currently Pakistan is producing energy from thermal sources, all imported fuel. So we have expensive electricity, and our exporters and industrialists, they are complaining compared to the regional countries, Pakistan power rates are more expensive. I think 7 years it will take to produce electricity to complete this project.
And Ms. Zhou, just as Ms. Han said, Pakistan is in urgent need of cheaper and greener energy. So how do you view the significance of the Azad-Pattan Hydropower Station?
Azad-Pattan Hydropower Station is one of the 4 hydropower stations directed by the PPIB under the CPEC banner. Compared with other micro stations, I think this power station will be built with the latest technology, with one of the largest electricity generation capacity and the smallest environmental impacts. As we know that Pakistan has always relied on imported fuels, this not only made the local industries uncompetitive, but also increased the burden on the foreign exchange reserves. But the hydropower is the cleanest and environment-friendly source of electricity. So this project makes us fully confident about the future solution of Pakistan's energy problems. And we believe that after the completion of this project, Pakistan will get more cheaper and cleaner electricity, which will benefit the local industries and agriculture. And also during the construction, it will also provide with the local people a lot of employment opportunities, which is very beneficial for the local people.
All the hydropower stations at the Jhelum River Basin all have a function of water storage. So how will the construction of Azad-Pattan Hydropower Station promote the development of local agriculture and industry?
They also have a storage facility, like 3.8 square kilometers of area. It will be a concrete RCC structure. And I think when there is a low flow in rivers, so they can release this water. to farmers, and they can, because it's a border between Azad Kashmir and Punjab, so they will share the revenue earned from this source of water. And definitely it's going to boost agriculture in the surrounding areas.
First, I think, as Mr. Han just mentioned, I think the irrigation with cheaper cost is possible. And beside that, I think it will also help resist the flood and drought. These are all very beneficial for the local agriculture. Cheaper electricity will be gained. So I think the areas around this project, they can utilize this cheaper electricity to promote their own small industry businesses. For example, in the countryside, maybe they can start some processing plants. For example, they can make oil from the local plants and process rice with this cheaper electricity. So this will benefit the farmers. But for the industry, of course, electricity is like the blood of any industry. So this cheaper electricity will lower the cost of the industrial's development, and thus make the local industry more profitable and more competitive.
Ms. Han, for the people, more specifically, what benefits will they reap from the construction of the Azad-Pattan Hydropower Station?
Well, this project will generate 5,000 plus jobs, and I think it's very good for the local population, and there will be a lot of business activity around this project, and it will take 7 years for completion, so I think it will be beneficial for the local population. And after completion of this project, the local educated youth will get skilled workers' job. So I think it will beneficial for the local community. And as Professor said, the cheaper electricity means in this remote area, people will benefit from this hydropower project.
So I think besides the implement opportunities, it will also promote some related industries or sectors to develop, like the building materials, etc. And this will help alleviate the poverty in the remote rural areas of Pakistan.
Different businesses will also run with this project. You know, within the 7 years, there will be shops, there will be transportation business, there will be some other businesses. So if we calculate, so I think more and more people will benefit out of it.
Yes, according to China's experience, usually if three gorgeous projects, after it was built, and it became a tourism destination as well. So people from Pakistan can also visit this place for tourism. Similar council called the China Council for the Promotion of International Trade.
Pakistan during this pandemic export pharmaceutical products and medical equipment.
Pakistan's GNU and other oranges exports also increased a lot.
Pakistan this time export more value-added items.
Second phase of the FTA has already started, and this has already helped increase at least 17% of the Pakistan's exports to China.
You are watching the Belt and Road face-to-face. Let's enter the second part figure. Pakistan has seen a rapid recovery of exports since the removal of coronavirus-related restrictions. November shipments have increased to $2.1 billion, the highest during the month in 10 years. Cumulatively, Pakistan grew export revenues by about 2% to $9.7 billion in the first 5 months of the present fiscal from a year ago. Prime Minister Imran Khan approved the formation of Export Development Board with the aim to boost exports. Prime Minister Khan will be its head, and all the stakeholders will be given representation. Meeting of the Export Development Board will be convened every month, in which exporters will be invited so that their problems resolved on priority basis. What is the reason behind the rapid increase of Pakistan's exports as you see it, Ms. Han?
Since the beginning of this coronavirus, most of the countries were in the lockdown state, and as we see in our neighboring countries, India and Bangladesh, which are our competitors in textile exports. So they were in a lockdown position. Unfortunately, Pakistan handled this pandemic very smartly. There was a smart lockdown and our industry was functioning normally. Our shipping and ports and all these sectors were functioning normally. And during this period, Pakistan gets some additional orders from buyers. And the good thing about the increase in export is that Pakistan this time export more value-added items instead of sending raw material like yarn and raw leather. So Pakistan prefer sending value addition products. So that makes more earning for Pakistan. And during this period, because we know most of the businesses, they were operating online, so there was great demand for softwares. So the software industry made quite handsome profit during this pandemic. And all these sectors cumulatively add Pakistan's export earning during this current 6 months.
Ms. Joe, how do you analyze the reason behind Pakistan's export surge?
Yes, just like Mr. Khan just mentioned, during the pandemic, Pakistani government has adopted very proper measures to stop the pandemic's bad effects on the country's economy. For example, the smart lockdown is very wise measure because we cannot fully stop the whole manufacturing of the country. And I think during the pandemic, the other countries, the overseas demand for the making the masks is booming, and thus Pakistan can export more like a yarn or some cotton products related with this. And beside this, I think I also noticed that the Pakistani government has carried out some favorable preferential policies towards boosting its exports. For example, the country has adopted a policy to cut the electricity price for the export industries. This will help lower their costs of production, thus made that their products more competitive in the international markets. And also Pakistani government has also established a special council for boosting its own exports. I think all these measures started to take effect in the country. And beside this, I also read in the news that Pakistan's ginu and other oranges exports also increased a lot during the pandemic because the international demand for the fruits with a lot of vitamin C, which is considered good for people's health and immunity, the demand is increased a lot. So I think it is also a very good opportunity for Pakistan's orange farmers to promote their own products in the international market.
Let me add one more thing. Pakistan during this pandemic export pharmaceutical products and medical equipments, and this, as Professor said, health safety equipments, masks, face masks and other products, and fresh vegetables and fruits, rice. So these are all the products which made Pakistan proud. So I think in future we can see more software export, and Pakistan can increase their export earnings in coming years.
Yes, and what benefits will the Export Development Board bring to the Pakistani exporters, and what influence will it have on Pakistani trade?
Prime Minister of Pakistan, Imran Khan, recently gave approval for this Export Development Board, and he himself will chair this board. And all the leading exporters will join this board. And every month, the Prime Minister will call a meeting, and he will listen to the exporters with their problems, their grievances, and their suggestions. So I think this is a good initiative taken by Prime Minister, and definitely it's going to work out. And Pakistan exporters will feel happy, and their problems will be solved immediately.
Although in recent months, Pakistan's export has witnessed a rapid increase, but in the long term, I think we still have a long way to go. For example, Pakistan now rely on a relatively narrow export basis with very low value-added products, and besides, our labor productivity is not very high as well. So the government established this board in order to solve all these problems. So I think in future, this board should play a vitally important role in, for example, promote other potential export sectors besides, and to improve our current export industries. For example, we need to improve the labor productivity. We need to further promote the research and development in the textile manufacturing, and also as well as some other problems. For example, currently the inflation, the rising prices has also infected the Pakistan's export industries. So we need to solve all these problems. Besides, the packaging of our exported products also need to be improved in order to increase its competitiveness in the international markets. So as for the China and Pakistan's trade, I think this board will also play a very important role. As we know that China is a very large market, but currently Pakistan's exports to China is relatively still not that much, I think. But good news is the second phase of the FTA has already started, and this has already helped increase at least 17% of the Pakistan's exports to China during this year, especially in the frozen fish and seafood area. The increase has reached 80%. So we are very optimistic about the future of the trade between Pakistan and China. Especially, we need to improve Pakistan's exports to us.
Does China have a similar institution to Pakistan's Export Development Board?
China Bureau, they were actually examining one control law for export, and since 3 years they were working on it, and it's going to be implemented from 1st December. So China will control export, especially in defense equipment and technology and all. Because most of the American and European companies, they have a manufacturing base in China because of the cheaper labor and advanced technology. So they were exporting goods make in China, but use in the US and Europe. So now China will look after it, and they have a strong control over it. So I think in future it will be very difficult for relation between America, EU and China.
China has a similar council called China Council for the Promotion of International Trade. So generally this council promotes the international trade between China and other countries. But unlike the Pakistan's, this board, it doesn't focus on exports only. It also takes care of the imports from other countries. I think besides the high level of governments, official idara councils, also some small and medium entrepreneurs chambers are also playing very important role between China and Pakistan's trade.
They display their products, and China provided all facilities free of cost.
With the newest, latest technology like virtual reality, etc., the customers can also see the products very clearly and in details.
4,000 kilometers of long border, and Vietnam, Laos, and Myanmar. These three countries are China's neighbor.
Trade between Pakistan and Yunnan province reached 64 million American dollars.
You are watching the Belt and Road Face to Face. Let's enter the third part, culture. China's South Asia Expo is a large-scale international exhibition of the Belt and Road Initiative that China attaches much importance to, attracting hundreds of Pakistan traders to participate every year. In mid-December, Yunnan hosted the everlasting China South Asia Online Expo 2020. free online booths were provided to all exhibitors. Through AI, cloud computing, big data, Internet of Things, and other technologies, exhibitors and professional buyers at home and abroad can communicate and negotiate with the service of online transactions, real-time translation, intelligent customer service, electronic signing, etc. Buyers can quickly search and find cooperation opportunities in a variety of ways. During the exhibition period, the offline platform also carried out activities such as national image display of South and Southeast Asian countries, online marketing, and live streaming sale. What are the special advantages of combining offline and online format during this expo?
China is hosting around 50 expos every year, and a lot of people from around the world and Chinese manufacturers, they visit all these expos. And unfortunately, since beginning of 2020 and due to this pandemic, and most of the countries, in a lockdown situation, and there was a travel restriction, so there was only one option left for this online exhibition. It was a new experience, and I think China experienced it very well because they are very advanced in technology, and it is cost effective as well because more and more people participated, and I think they display their products, and China provided all facilities free of cost. So this was a new beginning, and I think in future this is going to be very vital. Instead of having offline expos, I think 50% will be online, and I think people will get used to it in future.
What are the restrictions?
There are some products when you visit some expo, so you can meet different people and you can see, because it's the phrase, seeing is believing. So when you see online, you don't have 100% satisfaction. So sometimes you want to visit and see the product yourself and see their facilities. You visit their factories and you meet different people. So I think these are the restrictions.
I think the advantage is very obvious. It is more time efficient and cost efficient, especially for the SMEs, because they don't have that large amount of money for the international traveling and renting the avenues. So it will help them save a lot of money, but they can still reach to the international customers and display their own products online. So online participation is very beneficial in this way. And besides, for some products, during the transportation procedure, it can have some damages as well. But now, if we display our products online through publishing some pictures, booklets, or with the newest, latest technology like virtual reality, etc., the customers can also see the products very clearly and in details, but without any damage or traveling costs. Besides that, during the epidemic, I think limited of people's travel can also help reduce the chances of getting infected. But talking about the disadvantages, I think some products really needs you to touch them or to observe them in a close distance. Like some agricultural products, you even need to taste them, right, to know the quality. So for these kind of products, maybe the online participation is not the best way. So some entrepreneurs are still keen on the traditional trade shows. Also, I think when you have face-to-face interactions, it is more easier to get the deals done, and also you can meet many more potential customers, and you can also talk with your customers or your colleagues or partners directly in order to make yourself better known to the market and know better about the market. And thus, after the trade show, the entrepreneurs can make adjustment of their products and their marketing strategies as well.
This is one of the most beautiful province of China, and with the mild temperatures there, and I think it's not very well developed as compared to other Chinese provinces. So the local government and the Chinese government is giving priority to develop this project. It's a mineral-rich province. 4,000 kilometers of long border, and Vietnam, Laos, and Myanmar, these three countries are China's neighbor. And China is already in business with Myanmar. They have a gas pipeline, and they are exporting, Myanmar is exporting gas to China via this pipeline. And recently, China and Bangladesh, they signed some MOUs and agreements. So China is going to invest heavily in Bangladesh Chittagong port. And the distance from the Chittagong port and Kunming is like 1,000 kilometers. In future, China is planning to use Chittagong port for their imports of oil instead of using a long Malacca Strait crossing from Malaysia and South China Sea. And I think this is one of the alternatives. So this Yunnan is in future going to get very significant importance, and it will be a trading hub. Mm-hmm. And in future, they are having some more discussion how to bridge this Myanmar, Bangladesh, and China. So I think it's a good initiative, and it will be a hub for in coming years.
Yunnan is located at the juncture of South and Southeast Asia. And beside that, in recent years, the Chinese government has paid much attention on Yunnan's development, especially in the transportation, etc. Fields. So now the transportation between Yunnan and South Asia, and as well as the ASEAN countries, are very convenient and fast. And for example, if you take a flight from Yunnan's capital city to Kunming to ASEAN countries or to South Asian, big cities of South Asian countries, it only takes less than 3 hours. So it is not a long distance between Yunnan and Pakistan. And I have noticed that some provinces like Xinjiang and Yunnan have benefited more from compared with China's other provinces under the CPEC projects, and because of Yunnan's special location. So China wants Yunnan to play more important role between the Pakistan and China's trade, this cooperation. So I noticed that during last year, the total bilateral trade between Pakistan and Yunnan province reached 64 million American dollars. But this number mainly consists of the imports from Pakistan to China. But now we want to reduce this trade deficit, and we want to improve more Pakistan stuff products to China through Yunnan. As we know that the first batch of Pakistani mango this year reached Yunnan first, and then it was distributed to China's other provinces. So I think in future, Yunnan can not only be a hub for a Pakchina trade, also in future, maybe it can also be a hub for the trade between Pakistan and other ASEAN countries as well.
Sure.
How will the vigorous development of online exhibitions promote the international trade?
During this situation, we have figured out many new ways to reduce these negative influences. For example, many online trade shows, online expos are held during this year, and the new technology, the latest technology like online meeting and virtual reality, etc., are widely used in these online expos. So I think with the help of these technologies, this global village is becoming smaller and smaller, and the negotiations and interactions between the different countries' traders will be easier. Offline expos, of course, they will recover, but I think for many small business runners, the international online expos are still a very good way for them to reach to the international market.
And in future, we can see more and more technology-related exhibitions and services. I think worldwide, if you see the software houses, their profits are 400 times, 500 times they are increasing, because this is the only sector in the world which makes profit nowadays.
Thank you for watching the Belt and Road Face to Face, and thank you too for coming to our show today. See you next time.